All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, our main story is going to be talking about sharding and plasma and how it could scale Ethereum by 10,000 fold. We got a few other news articles for you as well, like a Zencash double spend 51% attack that just occurred, which is not particularly surprising as that has been happening over and over recently. But before I begin, I'd like to shout out to a donator to the channel, as I always do. For 0.06 Litecoin from Jacob Abfalter. Also, I would like to announce that I am currently still doing a giveaway for some Bitcoin merch. You can check that out in my previous episode, just the one before this video. On how to do that, just comment with your email address only on that video. If you comment with your email address for the giveaway on this video, it's not going to work because I'm going to do a random giveaway, a random comment picker from the previous video. So check that out. But Vitalik Buterin has shed some light on the subjects of sharding and plasma, while essentially suggesting that Ethereum's network will ultimately be capable of supporting tens of thousands of transactions per second. So MrSotko held a holiday special AMA on May 30th, which featured Ethereum's founder Vitalik Buterin. While the entire session was filled with interesting insight, what definitely caught the attention of most viewers were Buterin's thoughts on sharding and plasma, two major improvements to the Ethereum blockchain which are currently under development. So as it stands currently, Ethereum's blockchain can, according to Buterin, support up to 15 transactions per second. Recognizing that this has become widely inefficient and, for what it's worth, insufficient, Buterin explained that the team's concentrated efforts have been able to handle what could be a major roadblock for Ethereum's further development. So Vitalik explained that sharding is a layer 1 scalability solution which is designed to directly improve the existing blockchain, essentially making it work a lot better. So currently every node running on the Ethereum network needs to process every transaction going through it. While this validation provides for a high amount of security, it also suggests that the blockchain itself can only be as fast as individual nodes, disregarding the sum of their parts. So I was talking about this a couple of episodes back, that decentralized nodes, decentralized currencies are very, very slow compared to centralized currencies or centralized, like fiat processing currencies such as Visa or MasterCard, that sort of thing. And not that I'm advocating for centralization, it just is what it is, and decentralization is much, much slower because every single transaction has to go to every single node, because if some nodes were out of the loop, then they wouldn't know that you just sent money, they would think that you have more, and that would be pretty exploitable, like a 51% attack. So that's not good. So, cryptocurrency has a long way to go. We need to remain decentralized. But again, it has to go to every single node first. So they're working on some solutions. So sharding, on the other hand, describes a condition of the blockchain where the network is split into smaller partitions called shards, which contain independent transaction history. In this scenario, individual nodes would only have to process transactions for certain shards, hence allowing the overall transactional throughput in total to be greater, as a single node wouldn't have to do all of the work. And then layer 2 is plasma. On the other hand, is designed to be a layer 2 scalability solution, which doesn't improve the blockchain itself. Instead, it takes an existing blockchain, creates a special construction, which is connected to it, and thus provides a much higher throughput. Plasma, in its essence, is referred to as a solution for conducting off-chain transactions. Still, it relies on the underlying blockchain of Ethereum to guarantee its security. And Plasma may be regarded as a child chain, which could run entire applications featuring thousands of users with minimal interaction between it and the main chain of Ethereum. So, however, this child chain would also be able to produce its own child chains, essentially creating numerous branched blockchains, all of which are connected to the main chain. Since operations on these subchains won't have to be replicated across the entire main network, they could move a lot faster and reduce transaction fees. Simply put, the idea of Plasma is to allow Ethereum blockchain to continue handling smart contracts while only broadcasting completed transactions. So both layers are complementary and not conflicting. Buterin also explained that the scalability improvements of both Layer 1 and Layer 2 solutions will eventually multiply each other. He provided an example in which Ethereum sees a scalability increase by a factor of 100 through sharding, while also mentioning that it could be even higher than that.
Ethereum's founder then stressed that when you add Plasma on top of that, the network itself won't have to do 100 times the amount of activity. Instead, it will do 100 times the amount of entrances, exits, and speed resolutions, eventually improving the number of users that the system would be able to handle, adding a maximum safe capacity of another 100-fold. So, playfully wording, he said, if you add 100x from Sharding, 100x from Plasma, these two together basically give you 10,000 scalability. Since this was, after all, an OMG AMA, one user question did capture his attention. Will the OMG network scale up to 1 million transactions even without sharding? To this, Buterin confidently responded that if it does, sharding will scale it up to 100 million. Unsurprisingly, this led to the question of whether or not it could scale up to 1 billion. Buterin responded by outlining that there are just a few physical barriers which could potentially limit the number of transactions the Ethereum network could handle, providing all technological improvements are integrated and working as intended. So, Ethereum is definitely working on some major solutions to, the big problem of crypto is that it simply just, most cryptos simply can't handle the transactions that the world needs to use. Right now they can, currently in our present state. However, a few months ago, if you will now, it's getting to be a while, back in December, November, even January to some degree, Bitcoin transactions were much, much higher. And it was leading to a big problem and increasing fees and increasing time at which it takes to complete the transaction. So, with the interest of crypto waning a little bit with the price, less people are using transactions, less people are sending it, receiving it, etc. And but when crypto comes back and the price comes back up and everybody FOMOs in at totally the wrong time, but fair enough. When they all FOMO back in, those transactions will get clogged up a little bit more. So this is definitely something important to look for the future. So this is an interesting article. Just 10 addresses hold nearly 50% of all EOS tokens, following consensus across 6 independent snapshots verifying the state of EOS ownership. I always say it wrong. Data crunching has revealed only 10 addresses hold 496 million EOS tokens, or 49.67% of all 1 billion EOS tokens. Uh-oh. Some 100 million is held by Block 1, the company behind EOS's ICO and the first code version of the protocol. That gives them on the top of the 4 billion worth of Ethereum that they raised, another 1.5 billion in EOS tokens. Because they totally need to hold 100 million of their own tokens when they got 4 billion worth of Ethereum. That's okay. So yeah, 5 billion, why not? Just keep holding on to all of it. Who cares, right, at this point? The other 9 top 10 holders are difficult to discern, but we could say at least the amount held by any one of them is 20 million. The other 8 addresses hold 380 million. One such other address has 75 million EOS, translating to around 1 billion. Some quick browsing shows them linked to 2 other addresses, one with 13 million, and the poorest out of the top 10 with just 20.6 million worth. In the poorest out of the top 10? That seems like more than 200 million. I don't get it. Whatever. Maybe they just mean because it's linked with the 2 of them. Either way, it's a lot of EOS. This could be the cold wall of an exchange, but if it is, the setup looks slightly strange. It is very unlikely to be a hot wallet and may well also be the owner of the 20.6 million address. The top 10, therefore, may be even less than 10 individuals. Although in this specific case, 2 out of 3 addresses might be an interaction between different exchanges. So all these exchanges would be our guess for 7 out of the top 10 holders based on the current ranking of top exchanges by trading volumes for EOS, which in combination handled 2.5 billion in the past 24 hours. The top 100 EOS addresses hold 748 million tokens, amounting to 74.82% of all tokens. Otherwise said, the next 90 top addresses hold 250 million tokens, accounting for 25%. So that's really strange, and that is very worrisome for EOS, that it's hoarded in this big group of people, because if that was spread out amongst everybody, likely the price would probably dip when all of those are sold. It's just not good to have that so centralized, all of that ownership. CoinMarketCap shows only 50 exchanges that handled more than 1 million in EOS trading volumes during the past 24 hours. Much of it is counting the same exchange under different trading pairs. Bitfinex, for example, is listed 5 times. We can count around 25 unique exchanges with trading volumes above 1 million. We can therefore be fairly sure that at least 75 of the top 100 addresses are not exchanges, all of them so far holding 250 million of the EOS tokens. To get into this group, you need at least 646,000 tokens worth around 10 million, with the next top 900 holding around 100 million EOS tokens. So, it just goes to show that this is extremely centralized in terms of the ownership of EOS, including the developers of EOS who hold 100 million tokens. Why do they hold 100 million? I don't know. Now, it's not unusual that, an ICO leaves, 10% of the tokens for the developers. So that actually makes a lot of sense. So it's 100 million tokens that they're holding for themselves to pay themselves or to pay all their employees and to reward themselves. So that's not unusual. Almost every ICO, they hold 10% of their own tokens because somebody needs paid for all their work. So that's not surprising. So out of 1 billion tokens, they own 100 million. So they do own 10%. Yeah, okay. So not too surprising. But the fact that they have 4 billion worth of Ethereum, these guys made so much money on this, and really EOS so far has done nothing. There really isn't any dApps, any major dApps. I think there's some coming for sure now that the main net is released. But for the most part, this was all built entirely on hype. People gave them $4 billion because they said that they were an Ethereum competitor, that they're basically in a centralized, delegated proof of stake Ethereum competitor. And I find that very surprising that people would invest so much money into a coin that is proof of stake and not proof of work. And everybody's, kind of worried about proof of stake, and yet everybody gave them essentially $4 billion in total. So really weird, in my opinion. Brian Kelly, Ripple needs more utility for the price to increase. So the global payments industry is incredibly massive. Advances in cross-border payments and international banking system has increased the total addressable market. Brian Kelly claiming that the size of the internal payments market alone is 155 trillion. According to Kelly, it costs about 31 billion to move the entire 155 million strong market. Ripple's core mandate is to be a real-time gross settlement system, currency exchange, and remittance network. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and the team at Ripple believe that XRP can find significant utility in the payments industry, potentially saving banks up to 60% on international money transfers, which that 60%, where that's going to go, right into the pockets of the banker. So that's not really going to do too much, to be totally honest. However, to enjoy such incredible cost savings, banks have to use both the Ripple Ledger and XRP token framework. So Nostro accounts are an integral part of the international banking framework. Simply put, a Nostro account is a foreign currency denominated account held by a bank in another country. Part of the expenses incurred by international banking activities, the inventory cost of maintaining these foreign accounts. According to Kelly, banks can eliminate this cost by using Ripple Ledger and XRP instead of holding foreign currency in overseas account. So Ripple, for the most part, has been making giant strides in the payment ecosystem. No other currency has as many strategic banking partnerships as Ripple. Both RippleNet and XRapid platforms has attracted to no shortage of banking partners and financial institutions. However, the value of XRP tokens does not reflect the rapid expansion of activities. It certainly doesn't. No, Ripple's going nowhere at the moment. So when looking at the above XRP price chart, the popular stock market adage, the bigger the base, the higher in space, comes to mind. Ripple prices have declined since the start of 2018. In the line with the rest of the cryptocurrency market in general, however, Ripple prices show an extended base period, which, if Louise Yamada, Alan Shaw, and Smith Barney are correct, indicates a massive rally may be imminent. Maybe. For this to happen, Kelly believes that Ripple needs more utility, not only for its ledger framework, but for its tokens as well. I think, people, when people got burned pretty bad by Ripple at, being nearly at $4 and then all the way back down to well under $1 for a very long time now. And, like most cryptocurrencies, were at their high around that period of time. And now they're incredibly low, and people kind of got burned by Ripple. And I think there's a negative sentiment about Ripple since it's used by banks, and it's no longer making people these unbelievable gains. And so they kind of said, screw it, and just moved on. So I don't know what will save Ripple, but it's gotta be something big. This is Zencash's statement on double spend transactions. So the Zencash network was the target of a 51% attack on June 2nd at approximately 10:43. The Zencash team immediately executed mitigation procedures to significantly increase the difficulty of future attacks on the network. So this has been going around lately. So it was Bitcoin Gold. Let's see, what else was it? There was numerous. I can't even remember now. But there was 3 coins that were attacked. Oh, Verge twice, and then Bitcoin Gold. Maybe something else too. But this has been going on for a while now, and all these articles that were coming out that were saying, oh, it only costs $500 to 51% attack this currency for this long, or it's only $2,000 to attack this currency for an hour. And I think that's totally bad, because you're giving people a bad idea, and they're like, hey, maybe I should look into that and research how I do that, and this is what we get for it. So good job, media. Good job. So, sequence of events. Received warning of a potential attack from one of our pool operators. Immediately initiated an investigation, evaluated hash power distribution, and parallel contacted exchanges to increase confirmation times. Investigation showed that the suspect transaction was a double spend. In progress, additional forensics and jointly investigating the affected exchange. So a 51% attack or double spend is a major risk for all distributed public blockchains. All Equihash-based networks are exposed to an influx of new Equihash power. Therefore, the best short-term mitigation strategy is to recommend that all exchanges increase their minimum required confirmations to at least 100. What we know so far, at the time of the attack, the Zencash hash rate was 58 megasouls. It is possible that the attacker has a private mining operation large enough to conduct the attack and or supplement with rental hash power. Net hash rate is derived from the last mined block, and therefore live hash rate statistics are not available. The suspect pool address is such and such between blocks such and such and such and such. The attackers caused multiple reorganizations of the blockchain, reverting 38 blocks in the longest reorganization. So the attackers performed double spend attacks on those blocks between them. So increasing required confirmations to 100 makes another attack highly unlikely. However, if you have any specific concerns about the general security of exchange platforms, please contact the exchange directly. Good luck with that. As always, we recommend that users store their funds in wallets to take control, such as cold storage or something like a Ledger Nano. The Zen team will continue monitoring the network and conducting forensic analysis with the affected exchange. All information gathered will be provided to the appropriate authorities. So the first double spend was 6,600 Zen, and the second double spend was 13,000 Zen, so a total of like about 19,000 Zencash, in which they probably just got totally for free. So let's take a look at Zencash, see what price we're at right now. So about just let me even that out to about $30. So 18,000 times 30. Somebody made a lot of money. Moving on, SCoin backs down as banking authorities bully Estonia. So this makes total sense that banks crack down on anybody trying to make a cryptocurrency. When you need to defend yourself like that, and you needed to defend your business like bankers, they're in trouble. So I just don't get why bankers just don't. I guess there's a really deeply rooted system, and they just can't get away from it. But if banks don't move on sooner or later here to blockchain or crypto in some way, or digital currency, it's not going to be good for them. So instead they have to bully countries like Estonia. Estonia's cryptocurrency project SCoin will definitely not be a national cryptocurrency after receiving pressure from banking authorities, according to Estonia's head of IT strategy. The digital token will now merely be offered as an incentive to foreigners using Estonia's electronic identification to sign documents and set up companies remotely. Estonia originally planned on pegging its national cryptocurrency to the euro, the official currency of the European Union, as well as offering them to all citizens within the Baltic country. So, here's what I think about a foreign, or rather a national cryptocurrency. I've said this numerous times on my channel, and I think it's the great evil. It's absolutely the great evil. So I'm kind of glad that Estonia got shut down. Yet at the same time, I'm angry at the banks for doing that to them, because they should be able to. People should be able to do what they want. Government should be able to do what they want, I suppose, as long as it's voted on. But the problem with a government cryptocurrency is that you would receive a public key. They could shut you down. They could take your money. They could garnish your money whenever they want. They could see what you're spending and who's giving you money. They'd be able to control the inflation, deflation perfectly. It just really wouldn't be good. It really defeats the purpose of a crypto. So this is an interesting article in the sense that, like, I hate the idea of a national crypto, but I still hate the idea of banks attacking people who are trying to make crypto or spend their money for crypto. So the currency of the Eurozone is the euro. As noted by Estonia, is one of the most technologically advanced states in its region, has been planning on issuing its own state cryptocurrency, the SCoin. For quite some time, European Central Bank President Mario Draghi, however, has been critical of the idea, stating that the only the euro may be used in the small country. So no member state can introduce its own currency. The currency of the Eurozone is the euro. Draghi is backed up by Ardo Hansen, central bank governor, who claimed official reports regarding SCoin were misleading. So we're not building a new currency. The pressure of the European banking authorities has effectively shut down any hopes of SCoin becoming a legitimate new form of legal tender in Estonia. We agreed in discussion with politicians that SCoin will proceed as a means for transactions inside the e-resident community. Other options aren't on the table. We're not building a new currency. So the significant scale back of the SCoin plan has been confirmed by its author, who confirmed that it would definitely not be a national currency. So, there goes the banking system, like, oh, you can't have your own currency, you got to use the euro. And that's terrible. And that's literally I wonder if they get it or don't. They might get it, but at the same time, they might be like, well, we understand that everybody wants a decentralized currency and are tired of us printing up their money and, inflating and ruining everything and just generally acting like we don't know what we're doing. But they can't do anything about it, so screw it. And that's why everybody's moving to crypto, or at least it's starting to chug along more and more and more as time goes on. So just checking coin market cap, we're up to 350 billion market cap, now 351 as soon as I refresh that. So our winner of the day is Huobi token, which is an exchange token. VeChain is doing pretty good as well. We have a lot of green today, so that's pretty good. But our loser is a good few. Bitcoin Private is always not doing too good. It is a wacky currency for sure. It is one of the most volatile I've seen. It just goes way up and then it just gets hard dumped. Electronium down again as usual, but not too big of a deal because nobody uses Electronium. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and as usual, I will see you guys next time.